Alright, hi everybody. This is Andy and I'm gonna be trying to do a voiceover for this now. I had some people tell me that it was kind of boring just there listening to the really cool little music that I found, so I'm gonna try and talk over this. I don't know how well that's gonna work out. I'm really not good at talking that long, unless it's just me ranting, and that's probably not gonna be a good idea. So, let's see, right now what I'm doing is I've drawn him from the Powerpuff Girls. This dude was always just creepy as all hell to me. I really couldn't tell you why, other than he was just such a nonchalant character with such stupid godlike power that I always found that kind of creepy. Uh, yeah, it was weird to me. So right now what I'm doing is I'm going in on top of my pencils, which I took the pencils, I adjusted the, I think the contrast on this, made my darks darker, my lights lighter, did just a little bit of cleanup on the pencils and stuff. And now what I'm doing is I'm going in with the lasso tool, and I'm blocking in where my, yeah, so what's happened is, yeah, so using the lasso, going in, blocking in all the stuff where it's just going to be solid black. I'm really not doing a whole bunch else to the line work as far as cleanup stuff goes. Just because I don't really think it's too necessary. I mean, you could be as anally retentive about all this as you really want to be. I'm just more about getting it to a place where I can put some color on it and it looks decent. I was doing a lot of these without going in and blocking out the blacks, and kind of decided I was going to give that a shot with this and see how well it worked out. I think it turned out pretty well. Again, you could be a lot more detail oriented on this stuff and make it, just every little line you could go through and do this with. A lot of people actually do digital inking. I don't think they really do it like this. A lot of them use the pen tool, and they use some of the options for that to adjust their line weight and everything. I kind of like doing it this way, but it's also kind of quick and dirty, and I like quick-ish. So, yeah, there we go. I got his ear. Now I'm going to do his beard. Oh, that creepy beard. Yeah, just so everybody knows, I do all of these, and I actually have a few more that I've already done the actual coloring and all the artwork and stuff for. I just haven't cut them up and made the actual video and everything. I do all this stuff at the store while I'm at work. Like right now, I'm actually doing the voiceover for this, and what's probably going to end up happening is it's going to take me about 4 hours to do like the 35 or 40 minutes worth of voice for this, just because people are going to come in and I'm going to have to stop it and then come back to it. So if you hear any weird gaps or jumps, then that's probably what's happened, is someone's come in, I've had to stop the recording, and when they leave I'll have to jump back in and keep going, because right now I'm watching the video and commenting over it, because the actual artwork, like all the digital time on this, I got to see it, and I think it came out to about 4.5 to 5 hours just to do the the digital side of it. That's not including the actual pencil work. I think the pencils on this total time probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. Again, because I'm kind of working on this stuff throughout the day, as I have some free time when I don't have to do other stuff, when I don't have customers in, and all that good jazz. I'm actually working on trying to do like some live drawing stuff, but again, that would be me setting up a camera like over the counter so you could see what I was doing, and then I tried to do a video of that for a project I was working on for a guy. It wound up being like 5 to 10 minutes of drawing, and then like 20 or 30 minutes of just weird looking hands and people putting games in front of the camera and stuff like that so I could check them out. I just get the feeling that'd be really boring compared to like having like live gameplay and stuff like that going as often as we can. Um, and as soon as I get the other computer up and running a little bit better, there'll be a lot more live gameplay. As it stands right now, my computer's not really handling the whole XSplit and HD broadcasting stuff very well. Oh, look at that. We're into the claws now. I really, I had fun playing with his claws, doing the drawing and stuff. Man, this may just be boring to watch. I don't know. I've always found it really interesting to see how people do stuff. Just because, I don't know, because I want to do it. I want to do it better, and sometimes I see stuff and I'm just like, ooh, that looks fun. I'm going to try it. Which is actually what you're going to see once I get into the coloring, because I colored this thing not necessarily completely different, but I colored it in a different manner than I've done any of the other stuff before, and I'm probably going to try and make this like my my standard way of doing stuff. That's also one of the reasons that this video is so much longer than some of the other videos I've done, because this really was me trying out a completely new coloring style and trying to get it to work. Once I get there, you'll see, once it gets to the coloring part, you'll see exactly how much error went into the whole trial and error thing for this, and just trying to feel stuff out, and ooh, it was kind of rough. I think what's in this video is actually the fourth pass at me trying this coloring style. There were probably, I think there were 3 other like hour and a half to 2 hour long videos of me trying to get it right and just failing utterly and miserably, and running out of time to actually get it done, until I finally came in one day after, you know, four really bad attempts at this style, and getting it just completely wrong. I came in one day and it kind of clicked a little bit better, and so that's what I'm putting up today. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at all the little blacks just getting all filled in. Yeah, I really wish I could work this fast in real life. It would be awesome if it only took me like 10 minutes to do all of this, all these fills. Go, Johnny, go. Go, Johnny, go. Yeah, just let me know if you guys don't want to see any of this. Filling into the blacks and stuff like that. I can always leave that out. I probably will leave that out next time. It'll just be the what I'm going to call my little digitally inked thing. Like, that's pretty much what this is for me. This is my equivalent of digital inking, like, for the lazy person. Okay, so now the inks are done, the line work's done, so now we're going to go in and do the... I sped this up really fast because this is so boring for me to watch. It's boring for me to do as well, and I just figure, like, you're only going to want to see maybe a minute or two of this, just because it's another thing that gets me, that I have trouble with, and you're going to find out if you watch any of these. Like, I have trouble with a lot of stuff. One of the biggest things I have trouble with is picking out my base colors, because, like I said, in like the first couple of videos that I did, maybe it was just the first one, I don't really consider myself a colorist. I feel like that's kind of like me trying to call myself a painter or something. I'm not. I like lines. I think in lines. Like, that's kind of how I see the world, is shapes and stuff like that. I'm trying my best to get better with the whole color stuff, because I feel like that's a tool set that you just kind of have to have nowadays. There's so many people out there who are so good at all of this that, you know, to get any kind of work or anything like that, you kind of have to have you either have to be like really, really amazing at one thing, or you have to be really good at all of it. And there's so many people out there now who are so good at every aspect of doing the artwork, like from line work to digital. So, okay, So it looks like I jumped a little bit. Um, I think this is because of those 4 attempts at doing this coloring style. I wound up changing some of the base colors along the way. So what you're seeing right now is I've taken, and this is the biggest difference I can think of, is that the brushes I'm using. Like right here, what you'll see is that I'm using almost a standard brush, almost, but it's going to be super, super feathered, and I'm using it at 100% opacity, 100% flow. And what I'm doing here is finding, I run like a strip of it at full, so I can kind of see the whole color range compared to the base color. And then you take your color picker, you go in, and you pick a shade that's just a little bit of a highlight. Then you take a fully feathered brush at 100% opacity, set on normal. And this is why it takes me so long and why I have to play with the colors on this so much, because I'm so not used to this. Take this fully feathered brush right here, and then you're going to go in and you're just going to build up the shape of it just a bit. And it's so subtle to me that, and maybe this is a reason I could never really grasp how to do this, because I've seen people using this style a lot. Like you see, I just had to go back and completely redo it because I didn't feel like it was, I didn't feel like I was doing it right. Like I went too much to the red, so now I'm picking kind of an orangish color as the highlight color for my red, so it works out a bit better here. Again, lots of trial, lots of error. So I've picked this orangish color, and now I'm going to come in with this fully feathered brush, 100% opacity, 100% flow, and come in and just kind of build the shapes up a little bit. And it seems really, really subtle at first, but as you go, it actually starts to give it like a lot more depth than I thought it would. So here I am, just, how do I say it? Okay, so if you're going to color in this style, and this is probably why it takes me so long and it's so hard for me, the dude I watched do this did everything I've done in like 2 or 3 minutes, and just bam, 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 knocked it out. And granted, this dude's a professional colorist, and he did stuff for Wildstorm. Like he was getting paid to do this kind of stuff, and I'm just kind of aping his style. But it seems so subtle to me, like that I never really grasped how this was building up the colors and stuff until I went through and I watched this dude's videos like over and over and over again. I've been looking at this guy for a couple of years now, and it finally started to click. So now what I've done is I've taken that fully feathered brush and I've swapped back to my initial color. So that initial color that I used to make the swath, or the swatch, I guess, or swath of the bright color, that I went in and picked a really subtle, closer to the base color piece of, go back to that one. Now you're going to set your mode to screen and drop your flow down to about 10%, I think. And then you're going to go back in and you're going to build up just a little bit more. And I think that's the biggest difference in this style and the way that I've done the other videos, like the coloring the other videos, is with this style, you kind of, it's almost like less is more with this. Like, less is more, but at the same time, it's more strategic. And that's what this dude said. I'll, if I can remember to, I'll post a link to the video that I was watching to kind of pick some of this up on. And don't think that this is exactly how that guy does it, because he does it so much better. I can't really make it work exactly like this guy does, so this is kind of me. Maybe I'll get it eventually, but this is my way of kind of getting where he is. And so you're taking this brush and you're strategically adding to this. It's not as much of a build-up as the other style that I've been working in. The other style ends up looking really pastelish, and I was trying to get a bit away from that. Almost, I just kind of wanted it to look more digital and less like I was using chalk. And I couldn't really figure out how until I saw this. I really like this. Like, I like this style. I'm digging it. But you have to think more. Like, straight up, you have to be more, I guess, on top of exactly where you want your highlights to be and where you want your shadows to be. So you end up not doing quite as much physical work. Like right here, I'm just staring at it, just trying to figure out, okay. See, right there, I kind of goofed a bit and kind of went back to the other style that I was used to, where it was just throw stuff down, throw stuff down. Well, here it's a little bit more strategic. You have to be more purposeful with where you're putting your highlights and stuff, because you're highlighting a little bit stronger, but you're leaving a lot more of it unhighlighted. Like you see at the bottom of the nose there, where I threw it just a little bit, but the rest of it's kind of gonna stay like it is. And you just kind of have to be really, really aware of where you want your highlights to be, where you want your shadows to fall. That way, you can kind of, I guess, work smarter, not harder on this stuff, which, really is the goal. I mean, when I was doing this, I felt like I had to put a lot less actual color down to get a better coloring effect. Maybe it's just me. But I'm kind of digging this. Like, I was actually surprised at how it came out once it finally started to click. Now, the other 4 passes, it looked like somebody gave a crayon to a baby seal and, sent a bunch of clubbers after it and told it to draw something in the snow. That's kind of horrendous. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened. But it started to come together here. Like, see these really strong highlights? Now what I've done is I've swapped over to a, instead of that super feathered brush, this is more of a hard-edged brush, but it's still got the feathering effect, so I can kind of blend it in. And I'm just really, really being specific about where I put those super hard highlights. And there you go. So, it actually kind of worked out, like, a lot better than I expected it to. Let's see, what am I doing here? Oh, okay. So what I'm doing here is I took the base color, and now I'm going back in and I'm blocking in like the harder shadow areas, like under the eyebrow and stuff like that. And this is, again, about picking a light source, knowing where your light's coming from so you can throw in some shadows. And I'm not by any means perfect at this, but I'm making the attempt. Hey, look at that. I got up under his ear. How cool is that? And it just looks so cool when you put that little hard cut there and there's still some fade for the shadowing and stuff. That's fun. Okay, what am I doing now? I think I'm just confused right now. You'll see that a lot in this video. You'll see me just clicking around randomly, like trying to figure out, okay, what do I do now? I'm lost. I have no idea. What am I doing? I think I'm still trying to figure out if I need to put any more shadows anywhere. Yeah. I'm still trying to do a little bit of shadow work here. And again, this dude, when he tells it, he talks about being really bold with your choices on this stuff. And dude's not joking. Like, if less is more, then you've got to be kind of bold about where you leave shadowing at and where you throw in your highlights at and stuff like that. And you know what? I'm cool with that. I kind of like jumping into the deep end sometimes and seeing how well I float. Okay, so I think... Yeah, again, I'm still trying to figure out this brush stuff. I keep swapping back and forth the brushes that aren't doing exactly what I want them to do. Like, I know what I want the brush to do, but I've been using a different kind of brush set for so long that I kind of get confused. All right, so what I've done now, you take that kind of hard edge brush that you were using, set it to screen, set that to about 10%. You go in, you pick this bluish color, and you come into your shadow areas, and you drop a little bit of this in as like an alternative lighting source, and this throws in some depth to this. It just gives it more of a 3D feel, but it just adds something to this that is kind of neat. Kind of like some reflected light jumping in there. And see, what I realized was that that I had indicated where that would be the reflected light area instead of like a super highlighted area because of the way some of my other tones were working. And I forgot when I got excited. I got excited when I was throwing in those highlights on them. Never happened to you guys? You ever get excited when you're coloring and just color way too much of something? Because it happens to me. Happens to me way too often, I think. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I got excited. Found the blue. Saved the blue. I was like, I like this. We're going to keep going now. And what you're seeing right now was probably when I was coloring this. Somebody walked in and I had to do something, and yeah, probably got distracted. Okay, so now we're going to move on to this red and his clothes. And here we go again, me trying to figure out just exactly what kind of coloring I want. I know when you're dealing with reds, when you want to throw highlights on them, it's really rare that you actually want to throw in just a lighter red. If you go to more of an orangish color, it actually looks better, I guess, is a good way to put it. And right here, I'm really not liking this. I'm trying to figure out why I don't like it. And I guess I keep thinking if I keep putting more down, I'll like it better. And it's, yeah, see here, I'm trying to find more of a, closer to an orangish color for it. I think at that point, I was just like, to hell with it. We're going to roll. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll go back and redo it. And I'm just trying to pick some of my more highlight areas here, because I know that a lot of this area is actually going to be not from my primary light source. If it's highlighted at all, it would be highlighted in just a weird way. And that's what happens when you get a character that's all hunched over and stuff. See, that damn brush gets me every time right now. So here we go. So I've taken the more feathered brush, and I've set my... I think my flow and my opacity are still somewhere up a bit too high. I'll probably end up dropping that down in just a second. And right here, I'm just trying to build this shape up a little bit. And then I'm going to come in here. Yeah, I think I'm using too hard of an edge brush here. I think that's why I was kind of irritated. And you'll see me go back and forth. Yeah, see, it's that harder edge brush. And I was thinking that, I'll be a little bit less subtle with this and it'll look better. And I don't think it wound up looking like I wanted it to look. So I think you're going to see me come back in here and erase all of this in a minute. All right, yeah, see right here, I'm like, I'll try and blend it in a little bit. This will work. I can cheat. I can blend. Yeah, I'm trying to go back now because I figured that was a bad idea. Oh, okay. I was like, close enough. And so in here, I was trying to keep it to where it doesn't look quite as shiny. Like I wanted it to look a little bit softer in this area, so I'm using really, really small highlights and trying not to throw, like the highlight on that arm right there compared to these. I was trying to make like the skin tone a bit shinier, and then what's supposed to be kind of a cloth thing with more of a cloth feel. And so now we get into one of the things that has given me just hell on this piece, which were these damn claws. Because when I did the line work on it, I was thinking that these things would be all rough and just kind of gnarly looking, not really the smooth kind of claws you saw on the show. And the first couple of times I went so in depth on these things. Like I zoomed in way too far, tried to add way too much detail too early, and wound up just killing it, just making it look awful and frustrating myself. And that's the reason you see me staying zoomed out right now. And like as I went in just a little bit here, and then I think I remembered, I was like, nope, staying out, staying away, and just trying to make sure that I'm hitting the highlight areas the way they need to be done, following the shape and the overall contour of it. And just trying not to get too lost inside of this thing. And again, here I'm using big brush, not really zooming in much, kind of relying on my line work for the gnarly look, and just trying to, again, to keep the shape and the contour and follow that, because you never want to go against whatever shape has been laid out by your line work, because then it's like trying to skate uphill. It's just, there's no point to it. I mean, that's the whole point of having line work, is so that your colors are supposed to add to your lines, If you're fighting against it, you're really not doing the job that the colors are supposed to do. So again, here I'm just trying to follow this big shape. Like, I really wanted to go in and do all this little stuff and do little bits of texturing and everything. And normally I would. And I think that's been kind of a problem for me, has been just trying to go too in depth with a lot of stuff when there's no reason to. Like, just with the line work gets across that it's kind of rough, it's kind of muddly, and is that even a word? Muddly? Muddy-ish? No. Whatever. You get the point. Like, it looks kind of rough, looks kind of gnarled up and scratchy, and that's cool. Now, what we're doing here is we're going back in, we're adding some more of those highlights. I mean, this is, I literally use like the same process for all this. I take that super feathered brush with the super soft edges, and I go in after I've done a screen of what I think my final screen color is going to be. I take something really close to my base tone, I go in, I lay in some of it with the soft brush, then I go back to my screen color with the soft brush again, just build that up a little bit more, and then I go back in with the harder brush and try and add some detail to it. After I've done that, what I do is I go back in with something a little bit darker than the base color. And this is something that, like, that concept is, it sounds really simple. It's like, go in with a little bit darker in your base color and go in and put some shadow in there. My brain just doesn't work right for some reason, and just grasping that and making myself do that has been like kind of a weird challenge, and that it shouldn't be challenging at all. It's really simple. You grab the base color, make it a little bit darker, go in and add some shadows, which is what I'm trying to do right here. And you'll see, look, I got all excited. Not so much, maybe a little bit less. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. That's kind of my default now. So now I'm going to take that kind of a blue color, and I'm going to run back through here, and I'm going to add some of these alt light source type colors. And what I'm doing, I'm just throwing these in where the darks are to give it a little bit of form, a little bit of shape. Yeah, I know there's no apparent light source to be causing this stuff, but you know what? It looks cool. That's something so many people seem to lose track of and lose sight of when they're doing something like this. Like, oh, where's your light source coming from? Hey, where's that light source coming from? Where's the shadow here? But you know what? 9 times out of 10, because it freaking looks cool. That's really what matters. I mean, yeah. To a point, you want to stay as realistic as possible because you want people to get kind of drawn into it, if that's your style. But at the same time, I'm drawing a weird-looking devil dude with giant crab claw hands wearing like a furry tutu. Don't go overboard worrying about realistic on this stuff. Just make it look cool. Have fun with it. That's it. That's the key. And anytime I can show something to somebody and they look at it and they go, "Oh God, what? Oh, that's creepy," I feel like I've done my job. That's not even my job, but I feel like I've done it. Yeah. Okay. So hair, and other stuff that's like got kind of a texture like this. Like this, I thought that this would be more of a leather type texture, which is why I did the line work the way I did. So I'm not really going to use the soft brush as much as I'm going to use kind of a harder edge brush, because leather like this doesn't really have those soft tones to it. It looks more shiny. Like it's got like a solidish, like when it reflects light, it reflects light. So there's really no reason to waste the time going in there and trying to make it look all soft and stuff when you can just take the that harder brush, slap it on there, and just roll with it. I mean, that's... Add your highlights where your highlights need to be, just like that. I mean, there's really no reason to put extraneous amounts of effort. Just pick what's going to facilitate, again, highlighting your line work, and then move forward with it. So look at that, ta-da, done. Let's see what's next. I think I go to the belt next, because I was like, hey, this is going to be kind of the same material, but now with the belt, The belt is not quite that shiny leather, not to me, because it's a bit bigger, it's a bit softer. So it's going to have a little bit of a softer feel to it, but it's still going to have like that, hey, I'm leather type of hard light to it on the highlights. Because, it's hard leather, or it's leather. Leather kind of gets that feel, unless it's like the rough, soft, what is that? It's not is it unpolished? Untanned, maybe? No, I think it's all tanned. Whatever that effect is. Okay, so here you're going to see me doing something that I normally don't do, and that's trying to take something that's supposed to be kind of feathery and fluffy, and I'm trying to get that feathery, fluffy feel to it. Instead of trying to color everything like it's the exact same, like you wouldn't necessarily color cloth the same way you would color skin, because cloth is going to be a bit softer, skin most likely is going to have a bit of a shinier effect, but it's not going to be anywhere near as shiny as if you're coloring metal. So I'm trying to come in here with my really, really soft brush, picking up that softer color. I did my color selection the exact same way that I have been doing it. I just decided that I was going to fluff this up a bit more and just try and make it look softer. I don't... Once I got to doing it, it kind of felt like it was cotton candy, and not so much that it had like the little the textured feel that I wanted. So I decided to take the harder brush, make it a little bit smaller, and come in and try and add some texture to it. It kind of worked out, but I was also kind of afraid of falling into that trap of putting almost too much detail into it. So right here, what you see me doing is trying to figure out where that fine line is between too much detail and just enough to convey that this is a completely different material, and that it's supposed to be kind of a fluffier, I don't want to say particle, but like what is the word? It's not really sinew. That it was a bunch of smaller pieces making up this whole, and not just like a solid piece of like round fluff. So that's what I'm trying to do when you see me throwing in these highlights here, is trying to get across that it's not one giant like round hard thing, that it's a bunch of little fluffy things put together. But trying to do that without having to draw each individual strand of fluff or curl of fluff or whatever it might be. Oh. So now I'm looking at it going, okay, that's good enough. I could have sat there and played with that for a lot longer and really contemplated it, and then decided that it gets the job done, move on. Because I'd already spent a long time on this. Okay, and now for the teeth. Again, the teeth are kind of shiny. There's really not a lot of soft lighting that occurs on teeth because it's enamel. Enamel is a harder substance that's almost always kind of got a wet sheen feel to it. So I just threw in what I needed to throw in, did a little highlight on the gums, and moved on. Now for the eyes are kind of the same way. I'm using the hard brush. I threw in just a little bit of a color that wasn't screened quite as much. And I'm sitting there looking at it, trying to decide what to do. And then I think what's going to end up happening is I was just like, you know what? To hell with it. We're going to screen this bad boy, keep moving. Actually, I think somebody came in. I was having to talk to him, and didn't really. I think it was a mix. Like, I was talking to somebody, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And so when they left, I was like, I know what to do now. I'm going to screen it. I'm going to do what anybody would do. I'm going to make it really, really bright. Because eyes are wet. They've got some sheen to them. So I'm just throwing that in there. And it contrasts enough with the skin tone that I think I'm kind of happy with it. So then I'm going to come in, knock a little bit of the form out for the shadowing. Not something that anybody's probably ever going to notice, but I still do it because I like it. All right, so now what I'm doing is I took my hard brush again, took my base color on my the feathery, softer parts of this, and I'm cutting out the shadow for it because I know where the light source is hitting, and I want to make it look a little bit more dramatic. Yeah. Hey, look at that. So now I'm going into the face and did just a little bit more of a shadowing there. Looking at it, looking at it. All right. Now I know that I want to do something. And this is where that dude talking about being kind of bold with your selection is. I was like, you know what? I want to do something kind of bold here for the shadowing. He's all hunched over. I've got the shadowing like pretty hardcore right through that area, but I didn't put any of the blacks on the fluffy stuff because I wanted the fluffy to look fluffy. So what I decided to do was take it and try and get that same effect with the just with the coloring, and there you go. That's what ended up happening. So now I'm going to go back in with my blue. I'm going to add in again that kind of secondary like lighting effect. I tried to do the feathering here. Didn't like the way it looked. It was just too solid. And I kept trying it. I tried it again. I didn't like it, so I just decided to again, real quick, throw just a little bit of highlight in there, real subtle type stuff, and then roll on with it. And then there it is. I was just kind of looking over the whole thing because you don't want to get lost in the details on stuff. Like you got to zoom out, or I do. I have to zoom out fairly often. Okay, here is where I was like, hey, you know what? I can do this. I can make this look really cool, really quick. I can drop in here with the lasso tool, and then I can use some gradients, and I can make it look kind of grungy. And so I grabbed this green color and I did it. I was like, oh god, that looks horrible. I was like, can I do it with this? No. All right. Done with the claws. Time to move on. So now what I'm looking at right now is how I want to do my background and everything. And what I decided on was that I didn't like the way this looked at all as far as the background went. It was too much orange and yellow in it, and I felt like it kind of made the front of it get lost. So I decided to go with like a Hem Classic and throw in like this heart shape and make it like a lighter shade of this pinkish color, and I liked where it went. Yeah, what you're seeing is me doing this in front of my colors layer and then realizing the horrendous mistake I've made and trying to fix it. Because what I've done is, instead of working with multiple layers or anything, what I actually did was I would use my magic wand to select a part of it that I wanted to color, and then I would Control J, make a new layer on it, and go up and click the little icon beside the paintbrush in your layers tool. To the left of your paintbrush is like this little square with some other little squares in it. What that does is it will lock you on to whatever pixels are within a layer, and that's all you'll be able to touch. Because what I found was, while I'm using XSplit to record this stuff, anytime I'm using the lasso tool, or anytime I've got a selection selected, it just eats up the RAM and everything, and it makes everything kind of choppy looking. And so in trying to find a workaround to that, what I found was doing it like that. You just grab whatever you're wanting to color in, like when I was doing the claws, when I was doing the skin, make a new layer for that, click the little icon there. I cannot remember what it's called for anything. I think it's like Pixel Lock or something. And you can't, like, that's all that you're able to manipulate, so you don't have to worry about your computer eating up its memory trying to remember that you've selected something, because it's just on another layer. And then once you're done with that layer, you drop it back down. Now what I always do is I make a copy of my base layer. That way, if something happens I don't like, I can always go back to the other color layer. So right now this is me doing my little signature area. I don't know why I like doing this so much. I think it's one of those things, like a little bit of effort and it looks interesting, and that's always fun when you can put a little bit into something and make it look kind of cool. So that's my little signature there, and so here you go, and there's him. And I appreciate you guys watching. I try and put one of these up every week. Just like, subscribe, and check out some of the other stuff we're doing. Thanks a lot. Bye.